one of the basic needs of man, provides the health requirements of a person in order to live. The availability of food on the plate of every Filipino is among the main concerns of the government in achieving food security in the Philippines. Republic Act Number 10611 is an act to strengthen the food safety regulatory system in the country to protect consumer health and facilitate market access or local foods and food products, and for other purposes. It is also known as the Food Safety Act of 2013.
The Act of RA 10611, Article 1, is all about implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act 10611, known as the Food Safety Act of 2013. Some rules are promulgated to facilitate compliance with the provisions of the Food Safety Act of 2013. The Food Safety Act of 2013 shall be the framework for implementing the farm-to-fork food safety regulatory system. Toward these ends, the state shall maintain a farm-to-fork food safety regulatory system that ensures a high level of food safety, promotes fair trade, and advances the global competitiveness of Philippine foods and food products.
Good day everyone, I am Shajin S. Bayawa and I will be discussing the Article 2 Definition of Terms Section 4. For the purposes of this Act, the following terms shall be defined as follows. Advertising refers to the business of conceptualizing, presenting, or making available to the public through any form of mass media, fact, data information about the attributes, features, quality or availability of food that is and its related product for the purpose of promoting its sale or distribution and enhancing economic activity. Adulteration refers to an act which leads to the production of food which, first, bears or contains any poisonous or deleterious substance that may render it injurious to the health of the public, second, bears or contain any other poisonous or deleterious substance in amounts exceeding established maximum limits or standard for the good manufacturing practice. Third, contains in whole or in part filthy, putrid, or decomposed substance that is unfit for human consumption. Fourth, has been prepared, packed, or held under unsanitary condition. Fifth, in whole or in part, is the product of a deceased animal or an animal which has died through ways other than slaughter. 6. Is in a container having in whole or in part any poisonous or deleterious substance. 7. Has been intentionally subjected to radiation unless the use of radiation is in conformity with an existing regulation or exception. 8. Become injurious to health because of the emission or abstraction of a valuable constituent, or if any substance has been substituted wholly or in part, or if damaged or made inferior which has been concealed in any manner, or if any substance has been added thereto or mixed or packed therewith so as to increase its bulk or weight, to reduce its strength, or to make it appear better or greater than it is. 9th, has not been prepared in accordance with current acceptable manufacturing practice as promulgated by the way of regulation. And last, 10th, use expired ingredients. Authorization refers to the permission embodied in a document granted by a regulatory agency to a natural or juridical person who has submitted an application for a food business operation from primary production, post-harvest handling, distribution, processing, manufacture, importation, exportation, sale, and offer for sale, distribution, transfer, and preparation for human consumption. The authorization can take the form of a permit, license, certificate of registration, and certificate of compliance or exemption or any similar document. Contaminant refers to any substance not intentionally added to food which is present in such food as a result of the production, including operation carried out in crop industry, animal husbandry and veterinary medicine, post-harvest handling, manufacturing, processing, preparation, treatment, packing, packaging, transport or holding of such food as a result of environment contamination. Control measure refers to any action and activity that can be used to prevent or eliminate food safety hazard or to reduce it to an acceptable level. Crisis management refers to a proactive approach of addressing a situation where a risk to consumers, animal, or plant health cannot be controlled by normal existing mechanism through a plan which can be activated when such emergency arises. Food refers to any substance or product, whether processed, partially processed, or unprocessed, that is intended for human consumption. It includes drinks, chewing gum, water, and other substances which are intentionally incorporated into the food during its manufacture, preparation, and treatment. Feed. Feed refers to any substance or product, including additives, intended to be used for oral feeding to animals. Foodborne illnesses refers to diseases, usually either infectious or toxic in nature, caused by agents that enter the body through the indigestion of food. Through the ingestion of food. Food business refers to any undertaking, whether public or private, that carries out any of the activities related to or any of the stages of the food supply chain. Food business operator refers to a person engaged in the food business, including one's agent, and is responsible for ensuring that the requirements of its act are met by the food business under one's control. Food hygiene, hereinafter referred to as hygiene, refers to the measures and conditions necessary to control hazards that could lead to foodborne illnesses and to ensure fitness for human consumption of food of plant or animal origin, taking into account its intended use. Food law refers to the laws, regulation, and administrative provisions governing food in general, donated food, and food safety at any stage of production, processing, distribution, and preparation for human consumption. Food safety refers to the assurance that food will not cause harm to the consumer when it is prepared or eaten according to its intended use. Food Safety Regulatory Agencies, FSRAS, refer to the following national government agency. We have the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Health. Under the Department of Agriculture, the Bureau of Animal Industry, the National Meat Inspection Service, the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, the Bureau of Plant Industry, the Fertilizer and Pesticide Authority, the Philippine Coconut Authority, the Sugar Regulatory Administration of the National Food Authority. Under the Department of Health or DOH, the Food and Drug Administration, the Center of Food Regulation and Research, and the Bureau of Quarantine. Food Safety Officer refers to a professionally qualified and properly trained officer appointed by a food safety regulatory agency or by local government units or LGUs in accordance with the appropriate civil service rules and regulation. Food Safety Regulatory System refers to the combination of regulation, food safety standards, inspection, testing, data collection, monitoring, and other activities carried out by food safety regulatory agencies and the LGUs in the implementation of their responsibility for the control of food safety risks in the food chain. Food supply chain refers to all the stages in the production of food from primary production, post-harvest handling, distribution, processing, and preparation for human consumption, preparation in the cooking or other treatments of which food is subjected prior to its consumption. Good agricultural practices (GAP) refers to the practices that address environmental, economic, and social sustainability from on-farm processes and which result in safe and quality food and non-food agricultural products. Good manufacturing practices refers to a quality assurance system aimed to ensure that products are consistently manufactured, packed, repacked, or held to quality standards appropriate for the intended use. It is thus concerned with both manufacturing and quality control procedure. Good hygiene practices refers to all practices regarding the conditions and measures necessary to ensure the safety and suitability of food at all stages of the food chain. Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points (HSCCP) refers to the science-based system which identifies, evaluates, and controls hazards which are significant for food safety at critical points during a given stage in the food supply chain. Hazard refers to a biological, chemical, or physical agent in food with a potential cause to adverse effect of health. Inspection refers to the examination of food production facilities or establishment, and the management and the production system of food businesses, including the examination of documents, finished product testing and registration, and the origin of the destination of production inputs and outputs to verify compliance with legal requirements by an agency mandated to perform food safety regulatory and/or enforcement functions. Label refers to the display of written, printed, or graphic matter upon the immediate container, tag, literature, or other suitable material affixed thereto for the purpose of giving information as to identify components, ingredients, attributes, direction for use, specification, and such other information as may be required by law or regulation. Micro, small, and medium enterprise (MSME) refers to the food businesses as defined within the classification of industries by the Department of Trade and Industry (DTI).
Rule 4.1AA, this is all about the package. Package is primary or post-harvest food made up in advance in a container with or without the label for further processing, for catering purposes, or for sale to institutional buyers and or consumers. Rule 4.1BB, this topic is all about point of entry, means a passage for international entry or exit of travelers. Rule 4.1CC, this is all about post-market surveillance, refers to activities involved in safety and quality monitoring of primary and post-harvest food production inputs. Rule 4.1DD is all about precautionary measures or protective interim measures used where there is uncertainty as the existence or extent of risk to human health without having to wait until the reality and seriousness of those risks become fully apparent through the establishment of sufficient scientific data. For Rule 4.1EE, prepackaged is processed food made up in advance in a container, labeled and ready for sale to the consumer or for catering purposes. Rule 4.1FF, private testing laboratory, means a legal entity or other than the government testing laboratory. For Rule 1.GG, recalls means action taken to remove a product from the market. Rule 4.1HH, registration by DA, means the process by which DA FSRAs enters information about agriculture and fishery establishments engaged in the primary production and post-harvest. Rule 4.1II, registration by DOH means the process of approval of an application to register, process, and prepackage food products prior to engaging in the manufacturer. For Rule 4.1JJ, risk-based inspection refers to inspection focused on risk factors. For Rule 4.1KK, risk categorization refers to the classification of food business. For Rule 1LL, risk management plan as required by the FDA means a set of food product vigilance activities and interventions designed to identify, characterize, prevent, or minimize risk relating to food products. For Rule 1MM, risk management plan of the DAFSRA refers to a framework for prioritizing foodborne risk and for optimizing risk management options and control measures. For Rule 4.1NN, this is all about the street vended foods, or street foods means ready-to-eat foods prepared and or sold by vendors in the streets and the other public places.
Prohibited acts. It shall be unlawful for any person to produce, handle, or malfunction for sale, offer for sale, distribute in commence, or import into the Philippines any food or food product which is not conformity with an applicable food quality or safety standard. And also to produce and handle or manufacture for sale, offer for sale, distribute in commence, or import in the Philippines any food or food product that is banned in this country. The penalties. Any person who shall violate any provision of this act shall suffer penalties which may include a payment of fine of not less than 50,000 pesos but not more than 500,000 pesos. And also suspension or permanent revocation of appropriate authorization to operate a food business, payment and as well as payment of the hospitalization and rehabilitation cost of the injured person, and imprisonment of not less than 6 months and 1 day, but not more than 6 years and 1 day, depending on the number of conviction or the injuries of a person. In conclusion, the Food Safety Act of 2013 embodies the Philippine commitment to achieve one of the twin goals of food security, which is to access safe food. The law provides comprehensive food safety provisions and offers a mechanism to uphold the people's general welfare through the promotion and protection of human life and health in the production of the consumption of food. However, the achievement of its objective relies heavily on the crafting of its implementing rules and regulation, which is concerted effort of both DA and DOH.